In this video, we'll learn how to create a transparent drop-down menu using HTML and CSS. So let's take a look at how it appears on the desktop version here with the two-layered drop-down menu, and then we'll take a look at the mobile version. So as you can see, when we hover over it, it's going to turn into this sort of mint green color, and it's still going to have a bit of transparency even with the green. And then when we flex the desktop version down to about 768 pixels, or the width of, say, an iPad, it's going to turn into the mobile version with the menu text on the left and then the drop down button on the right. So if we go ahead and hover over it, and then click the drop down button or hamburger button, then we can take a look at the mobile version here with how it appears on, say, an iPhone 8, for example. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side, and then I'm going to show you what we'll need to get started. Okay, so in the description of this video will be a free download which you can download right on this page for the transparent menu starter files. So that's going to include the background picture that we use, an index.html file, and a style.css file to get us started. So the program that I'm using to make this tutorial is going to be Sublime Text, but you can use any text editor for HTML and CSS. As you can see here, upon opening up index.html and style.css, we have some code already included for us in the starter files. So what this code is going to do is going to create the full screen landing page that has the sunset and the flowers in the background. So let's go ahead and get started with the first tag for our navigation. So let's start with a nav tag. And we're going to write nav role equals, in quotations, navigation, and then we're going to give it an ID and simply call it nav, N-A-V. Okay, and then go ahead and let's drop down and close out our nav tag just above the div class content tag. So next, let's add an input here. And we're going to write input class equals trigger, and then the type will be checkbox, and then we're going to give it an ID. So basically this is going to be the drop down button, the hamburger menu for when we click the mobile version of the navigation. So then for the ID, just write main nav button with a capital N and a capital B in nav button, and then let's drop down and let's create a label tag. So label for main nav button, and then on click, and write menu. So this is going to be the text that appears to the left of the menu icon for the drop-down navigation in the mobile version. So let's take a quick look here. So there we have the menu text on the left, and on the right we have the input where we're going to click the burger. Alright, so now we can drop down and let's get started with our unordered list for the navigation, and then we'll add our list items inside of it for each navigation link. Okay, so UL, and then we'll do our first list item or navigation link. So do a link with ahref, and then I'm just going to do the hashtag or pound sign because we're not going to send the link anywhere for now. And then the first one is home, and then the second one is about us. Okay, and then we'll drop down and add another unordered list for the drop down menu here. So we'll actually have 3 unordered lists here to reach the last of the drop down. Alright, so another UL for unordered list, and then the first one for our list item here, and link will be who we are from the About Us link here. So who we are. And then let's drop down and add the second one under About Us, which is what we do. So li, open and close, and then the ahref, and in there, what we do. Okay, and then what we're going to do is add another unordered list here. So let's drop down underneath our last list item, and again write ul, and we'll open and close our unordered list here, and then start with the first list item underneath what we do. Okay, so li, and then ahref, hashtag, and then this one is web design. Okay, and then drop down underneath that list item and we'll do another list item, and this one will be called web dev or web development. Okay, and actually we don't need this closing list item here. And let's drop down, and if we refresh, we don't need this list item either. Okay, so now let's drop down and move on to the next of the main navigation links, which is after About Us, and that's going to be services. So services right here, then we'll do contact, blog, login. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste the rest of them out here so we can just type in the name of each. So we have services, contact, blog, and then log in. Okay, so now if we go back, there we have our navigation links laid out, as well as the drop down with the checkbox and the menu text next to it. Alright, so that does it for all of the HTML, and the rest of the tutorial will be in the style.css sheet. So let's go ahead and move over to style.css and drop down under the intro style there. And the first thing that we're going to style in style.css will be for our navigation here with the ID nav. So if you remember, in CSS we have the hashtag representing the ID, so we'll do a hashtag nav, and we'll start with padding 20 pixels. We're going to give it a relative position. Then let's give it a font family, which is that Google imported font at the top of the screen, which is called Arimo. So font family Arimo, comma, sans serif as our backup font. And then we'll write text transform uppercase, since we want all uppercase characters for our navigation. Okay, so now I'm going to refresh, and there we have some padding around it, as well as uppercase characters here. Okay, so now let's drop down and start styling our unordered list for the navigation. So we'll start with display none. So if we go ahead and refresh, we're going to start with the styles for the mobile version. So we don't want the navigation unordered list to display for the mobile version at first until we click the navigation, but I'm going to go ahead and mark that as just a comment for now so it doesn't take into effect, and then we'll come back and take away the comment there for display none. Alright, so then we'll give it a width of 100%, list style none to take away the dots to the left, margin 0, padding 0, and let's take a look at how it appears now. Okay, so now we have it lining up nicely off to the left, and we have no dots next to our navigation links representing the list items. Alright, so now let's drop down and style the links themselves. So we'll go nav ul li and then a for the link itself. Okay, so let's write display block to have them push up next to one another, and then padding 1 EM, background is going to be 323232 for the hex value. Alright, so there we have our padding as well as the background color started to take effect. And then color white, or you can do FFF for the hex value. Text decoration none to take away the underline. So now if we refresh, there we have them starting to take form. Okay, and now let's give it a border. So we'll do border right 1 pixel solid, and then the hex value is hashtag 4C4C4C, which is going to be sort of like a grayish color, like a light gray. So that's going to only appear off to the side right now until we so there you go, now you can really see the gray, till we have them as horizontally blocked. Okay, so now let's write opacity 0.8 to make the gray a little bit see-through for the transparency. And I'm just going to create some space here at the bottom so we're not looking towards the bottom of the video. Okay, so there we have our transparency. Alright, so now let's drop down and let's do the hover style. So we'll go with navullia :hover, and we're going to change the background color to that green shade when we hover over it. So the hex value for that is 0D8253. Alright, so now when we hover over the navigation links, we have that sort of mint transparent green shade showing up. Okay, so now let's move down and let's take away the border on the last link or list item here. So navulli : last of type A, and then border right none. Okay. So now let's drop down and let's add some padding here to the left of the links. So navulli ULLIA. So this will be on the who we are, what we do links here, since it's the second nested ULLIA. So padding left 1.5 M. And now let's add a little bit more padding for web design and web dev on the mobile version, so we know that they're nested within what we do, or they're They derive from the what we do link. All right. So we'll reference that with nav. Basically the, I forgot a comma here, so we're not seeing the font. Okay, there we go. Now we have the font family. So we're going to do the same as last, but an additional ULLI. So nav ULLI 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 A, and then open and close brackets, and then we'll do padding left 3.125 M. Alright, so now when we refresh, web design and web dev will move a little bit to the right with their padding on the left. Alright, so now let's go ahead and style the input trigger here. So basically the checkbox up there. So we'll do hashtag nav input dot trigger for the trigger class. Then we'll do position absolute top negative 9,999, and the same with the left. Later we'll add px for pixel to each of these, but for now we'll leave it as this. So we can still see the checkbox here, but eventually that style is going to send that checkbox way off the screen so we don't see it. So now let's drop down and write nav or hashtag nav input dot trigger colon checked, and then the tilde character here, the little swirly mark, ul comma nav input dot triggered colon checked tilde ul, and we're going to add li ul. Okay, so here we have trigger checkbox ul li ul. And let's go back to our CSS, and we'll tell our unordered lists to display block, and we'll write important. So that's for when we have the navigation menu checked. So right now we're already displaying the drop-down menu, so it's always checked until we do the full screen menu style in just a moment. Alright, so let's drop down next, and we'll style our label. So write nav label, which, if you remember, we have nav label for main nav button. Alright, so let's say position relative display block minimum height 2M, padding 0.45 M, font size is 1.1 M, and now if we refresh, there we have our menu text changing. Margin 0, and then let's make sure the cursor is pointer when we're hovering over it. Background 323232, line height 2M, color white or FFF, and then the opacity 0.8. Okay, so now we have that bar up top there with the menu text a little larger than the rest of the text, and we have it matching the gray transparent background. Alright, so now let's style the little burger menu here. So that's going to be hashtag nav label and then after, so colon after. So we'll make that position absolute instead of position relative. Right 0.8 m to push it a little bit off from the right, and then we'll push it off from the top as well with top 0.15 m. And then content, we're going to add that burger menu in quotations /2261 is the special character for the burger menu. Font size 2.3 m, which is a little larger than the menu text to the left of it. And then color will also be white, or you can do hashtag FFF for the hex value. Alright, so if we refresh, there we have our little burger menu displaying off to the right. Okay, so now let's drop down and do our full screen style. So we'll start it off with a media query, and we'll write at media, and then in parentheses minimum or min width 48 m. So 1 m is equal to 16 pixels, so 48 is 768 pixels. So basically what we're saying here is anything larger than 768 pixels in width for the screen, we want to display with the following style. So as you can see right here, we have that change at 768 pixels or 48 m. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started styling the unordered list. So I'm going to write nav ul display flex and then flex direction row. Okay. So now if we refresh, we have them displaying here in a row, but we still have a bunch of work to do, as you can see. So the next thing we'll do is write nav ULLI for our list items, and don't forget the hashtag in front of nav, position relative text align center, so the text isn't pushed off to the left, and then flex 1. Alright, and let's drop down and take a look at it. Okay. So now we have equal widths except for the About Us link with the drop down links there. So let's take care of that with nav ul liul, and we'll say display none important, then now if we refresh, okay, so now we have them all in line here with flex 1 the same size, and we'll write display, or I'm sorry, position absolute, top 3.0625 m, left 0, display block, width 12.5 m, and then z index 200. So now if we refresh, we don't see our second unordered list yet. Alright, so let's drop down and style our list item for the drop down unordered list. So text align left. And let's go back and do the third of the unordered list, so UL, LI, UL, LI, UL, and write Z index 300. So we want that to appear on top of the last unordered list. Top 0. Left 12.4 M. Alright, so now let's drop down and we'll extend that with the last of our list items and links. So ULLI, ULLI, ULLIA, and then we'll say padding left 30 pixels, important. Alright, and now finally, to get it to show when we hover over our list items, right, nav ULLI : hover, and then UL display block important. Okay, so now let's take a look at it, refresh, and there we have our navigation links showing up beneath. Okay, so now what we need to do is hide our input class there with the menu and the checkbox. So let's write nav input.trigger : checked tilde UL, comma, and then nav input.trigger : checked tilde ULLI, UL, and then display flex direction row, or flex direction rather, row. And then let me scroll up here a little bit. And then nav label display none. Okay, so now let's refresh. And there we have almost our finished version. Let's just add, I'll take away the comment here for display none for nav unordered list. And if we flex it down, there we have our drop-down menu appearing for the mobile version. Let's go ahead and just get rid of that little check box at the upper left-hand corner. So let's go back over to our style sheet and add px for pixel in the top and left 9999 style here. So that does away with the checkbox, and now I'm going to go ahead and pull up the mobile version because that does it for all of our HTML and CSS. We've completed the full screen landing page transparent drop-down menu tutorial. So I want to thank you for watching. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.